happy hump day to you. Today is Wednesday, January the 16th, 2018. And while we've got winter in most of the country, we also have a little bit of winter weather down here in the beautiful Florida Keys. We do have mostly sunny skies today, still a high of only 70 degrees. Our low temperature overnight is 64 degrees. There's not a chance of rain in the forecast, and winds will be coming from the north at 10 to 15 miles an hour. Our relative humidity is 61%. Now overnight, skies become partly cloudy, and winds come from the north still at 10 to 15 miles an hour. Our barometric pressure today is rising and then falling again, so it's got a lot of fluctuation with it, going from 30.15 to 30.21. If you're looking to be out on the water today, take a little bit of precaution from the sun because our UV index is a 6. So you want to make sure you're protected. Water temperature back up to 74 degrees. And our swells offshore, 4 feet is where they start, and then they drop down to just under 3 feet by the end of the day. So do pay attention to the tides and the swells to make sure you're safe out on the water. Our sunrise today is 7:13 a.m. Sunset will be at 6:01 p.m. The first high tide is going to be at 6:09 a.m. and the next high tide will be at 5:26 p.m. The only low tide of the day, it's a one low tide day, is going to happen this morning at 10:44 a.m. Overall, we've got 10 hours and 48 minutes of sunshine, and our solar transit happens at 12:37 p.m. Do be aware that it is chilly out there today, especially if you're out on the water. Our tidal coefficient is going to be averaging about a 54. And that means our lowest low tide is just above sea level, which we only have one low tide today. And then our highest high tide is just over a foot above sea level. So not a huge difference. If you're boating, you're not going to see a dramatic difference in those skinnier areas where you might be. And always pay attention to that because you can be grounded in just a short amount of time if you're not paying attention. If we're looking at salooner activity today, it's not a great salooner chart day for us. We have one fish level of activity during our major periods, which are from 8:11 a.m. to 10:11 a.m. and from 8:41 p.m. to 10:41 p.m. Minor periods have very low activity today, and overall, it's a 0 fish day on the fish scale. So salooner charts are not giving us a lot of hope as far as fishing activity, but we do have fluctuating atmospheric pressure. If you're planning on heading offshore out in the Hawks Channel, we're going to have winds pushing those seas, and it's going to be 1 to 3 feet, and then our nearshore waters are going to have a light to a moderate chop, so pay attention to that. The Gulf Stream is still pushing offshore, and while winds are ranging from 10 to 15 knots off in the Gulf Stream, we also have seas that are going to be about a foot. So not terrible once you get out into the Gulf Stream, not as bad as our nearshore waters with 1 to 3 foot seas. As we go in through the weekend and as next weekend begins, that Gulf Stream does shift slightly back toward shore, so we'll see how that affects our fishing activity. Still got a lot going on out there, getting a lot of great catches, so it's never a bad day to be out on the water. Well, there might be a few days it's a bad day, but it's rare that it's a terrible, terrible day to be out on the water. With the higher winds we've had lately, it's been hard to find clear water for snorkeling and diving, so maybe by the time another week or so goes by, we'll get some of this wind out of here and we'll enjoy some much clearer waters. No matter what happens, though, today, you've woken up in the beautiful Florida Keys. You've got any number of activities you can do. It's going to be a gorgeous day. Highs will hover right around the 70-degree mark. You might want to take a jacket if you're in some shady areas or getting a lot of wind. You're going to be a little bit colder. And then it's the perfect night to have a fire pit at night. So these are some beautiful winter days for us here in the Florida Keys. And no matter what, it's the perfect day to have a perfect day. This weather and fishing report is brought to you by 43 Keys Media. If you want to find out more about what's going on in your beautiful Florida Keys, please visit 43keys.com. You can also get this program as well as others as an Alexa Flash Briefing, and you can find us on YouTube and anywhere you listen to your podcast. So please feel free to join us and subscribe at any of those locations. And in the meantime, visit 43keys.com.